Good afternoon and welcome to a sunny afternoon in Boroughbridge, North Yorkshire. Today we're going to talk about the wonderful Rolls Royce Cullinan. This one being the Black Badge model, Rolls Royce's version of a more sportier, athletic, youthful version of a Rolls Royce. So being a Black Badge, what stands it out from the crowd? Well, firstly, all the chrome on the car is now black chrome. So again, just giving it that more youthful appearance and the more sporty appearance. They take all the chrome away and it's all now black chrome. And it's not just painted black plastic, it is actually proper black chrome. So it just looks absolutely stunning, but just keeps that Rolls Royce quality. Moving down the side of the car, you get the unique 22-inch wheels with the Black Badge. You also get painted brake calipers. And as with most Rolls Royces, you get the self-centering wheel centers. So no matter where the wheel is, it constantly shows you that Rolls Royce emblem. Doesn't change. And of course, being a Rolls Royce, it has the suicide doors. Don't know why they call them suicide, it sounds terrible, but anyway, that's what they call them. So inside, we'll talk about the interior in a second, but again, you get the obligatory Rolls Royce umbrella. So if ever you're caught out in the rain, Jeeves can put your umbrella up. Always a handy feature. Another feature actually I was going to show you was this Rolls Royce plaque that you get. So again, just showing the quality of this car. Now this is actually an option, believe it or not. This is an £800 option, but this is a solid piece of steel with the chassis number of the car on. So as you open the car, you're greeted with that wonderful high quality fit and finish. And then to close the door, just double tap on the door handle and the doors just close. It's just too hard trying to close a door these days, isn't it? So moving along the car, again, being the Black Badge, all the chrome is taken off the car, just giving it that stealthier appearance. You get the coach line running along, just very, very subtle. So coming around the back of the car, again with the Black Badge you get a sports exhaust. Talk about that more when we actually drive the car, but it's just a slight subtle difference. It's slightly more aggressive on the tone, but only very slight, but we'll talk about that more when we're inside the car. Tailgate, split tailgate, very Range Rover-esque. Being a Rolls Royce, you're greeted with this very thick, deep pile carpet, so wherever you are in the car you have that, which is just little subtle things with the Rolls Royce that I think make the difference. With this particular car, it's specified with the deployable tow bar. Now I'm not sure how many Rolls Royce customers will use this tow bar, but I think it's like really cool the fact that you can have a tow bar, and seeing this car with a horse box or a boat behind it covered in mud, I just think that would be one of the coolest things ever. So they're the things on the outside of the car. Let's jump inside and see what it's like. Okay, so I thought I'd start the interior discussion from the rear of the car, because this is where it really counts for this car. So as we know, it's all about the doors with the Rolls Royce, so one press of the button and the door just closes. It almost just sucks in like a tank. Suddenly it's so quiet in here. The first thing you notice in this car is the smell. The smell of the quality of the leather. You just know it, you can just sense it. And you sink into these lamb's wool mats, which are thick and luxurious. It's just fabulous. So another thing that strikes you first of all is the Starlight headlining. Now apparently, I think there's 16,000 different stitches in this headlining, and apparently the Constellation is based on what's above the Goodwood factory at Rolls Royce. Don't know how true that is or not, but I heard that fact. And in the back here, well, first of all, the seating position, because the windows are low, and because you've got this extra glazing here, you do feel like you're in something very, very special and very regal. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful view. When my kids were in this car at the weekend, one thing they said is, Daddy, they just like to be able to see out, because a lot of the sporty SUVs and what have you, they sit just a little bit lower in it, so they like that. So this is the theatre seating configuration. So standard seats, which are fixed, perfect positioning. You can adjust the headrest electrically here. You've obviously got your cup holders and what have you that you need here, and very importantly, you've got two options here. These are the picnic tables, which is finished in carbon fibre, amazing. And then you've also got all of the operations for the car's entertainment system. So let's have a little look here. So you can, let's pick media, TV. So there we go. We've got digital TV playing. and you can do everything. You can adjust the climate control. Anything that you can do from the front, you can pretty much do from the back. So you know, you can sit here happily watching the Formula 1 or whatever it is that you might want to watch. I'm not sure, do Rolls Royce customers follow Formula 1? They may do, I don't know. And I think one thing to point out with this car, this is rear theatre configuration, but I have to say this car's got the bespoke audio system. Now, I've heard some amazing audio systems in my time, and many cars have Bang & Olufsen's and what have you, but this is stunning. I cannot tell you how good the stereo system is on this car. It is an £8,000 option, but it is worth every penny. It is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. You have to hear it to believe it. I have to say, one of the downsides I've noticed with this car is if, like me, you're 6 foot, which I'm not particularly tall, but I sometimes have my seat reclined back a little bit, you can't actually put the rear seat TVs down. It must be some safety features. It doesn't touch the legs of the person in the back. So when I was in the car at the weekend with the family, I actually had to put my seat forward so my daughter could watch the TV. And to be honest, in a car of this size and this price, I want my seat to be in the perfect place. I don't want to have to be squashed forward so someone can watch TV in the back. So I think Rolls-Royce need to take note of that, actually. I'm sure they can figure out a different way of doing it. So one other downside to this car, so the children told me anyway, is when you try and get out the car, because of the configuration of the doors, you actually push it here where the hinge is, so you can't get out. It's such a heavy door, so you really have to push it and then move your arm to get out. Now I really think Rolls-Royce should come up with a different solution for that. So we've jumped in the business end. I'm going to take the car for a drive, see what it's like. I have to say, the first thing you notice sat here is how thick and deep the seat cushioning is. Something not like many cars, you just sort of sink into the seats. They are quite supportive actually, but I mean, I don't know if you can see the thickness of them. You know, it's like, you just know you're going to get like hugged by it. So anyway, right, so let's take it for a drive. So you notice how quiet this car is. The car's currently idling and you have no idea whether it's idling or not idling. If the engine was on or off, you wouldn't notice the difference. It's so quiet and smooth in this car. So let's put the car into gear and let's go for a drive. So, being the Black Badge, we have 600 brake horsepower, 30 more than the standard Cullinan. V12 twin turbo. But the most important thing with this car is torque. Over 900 Newton meters of torque, so that's the pulling power. That's just what transports you from one place to another. That's what you feel like in this car. You feel like you're just going to get transported from where you are to your destination without even feeling that you've driven. It is otherworldly how quiet this car is. Now, there was once upon a time a Rolls Royce, you could only get this feeling from a Rolls Royce, but actually those that have got a high-end premium electric car will actually know the similar feeling actually, because it's just eerily quiet as you pull away. I think the difference between this and an electric car is, though, one, it's got like bags of performance, but two, as you continue, so as you get to motorway speeds, it's still just as quiet. The road noise is just tampered down. You feel like you're isolated from the rest of the world. It feels like you're in like a vault or something. It's just like, it just totally isolates you. And in terms of performance, to be honest, with this car, I don't think I've ever put full throttle on the car. You don't need to. It's just got so much pulling power. It just gets you to the place that you need to be. You don't need to accelerate hard because it just takes you there. You barely notice the gear changes. And I don't know if you've noticed with the Rolls Royce, you don't get a rev counter, you just get power reserve. So at the moment I'm doing 70 miles an hour and I've got 96% of my power in reserve. So just accelerate away, down to 20%, it just pulls you away. But again, that's not using full throttle, you don't need to. Although this is a big car, it's actually quite easy to place because it's got square sides. It's not that difficult to actually drive or maneuver. I would say probably when you're driving a full-size Range Rover, it's quite similar. You know where to place it because you can see the corners of the bonnet. So yes, it is a really big car, but it's quite easy to place. I mean, I do like the leather in this car as well. I mean, everything in this car is leather. The doors, the dashboard, and with the Black Badge, you get the secondary colour to the stitching and the underneath of the dashboard and the seats. although that is an option, but it's an option that's only available on the Black Badge. So that can match the coach line outside, and you can have it in blue, green, yellow. I mean, in a Rolls Royce you can probably have any colour that you want. You get the wonderful carbon fibre, but you still get the really thin steering wheel and thin controls. I like that. I like the touch and feel, but it's a bit like they don't need to make it big and chunky because it's a Rolls Royce. I think that about their typeface as well. I don't know if you noticed on their website, the typeface is small, and I think that just exudes quality. And another thing, the touch and feel of all the metals in the car. I mean, these air vents, I mean, they're just solid metal. You don't get that in other cars, and they're the things that you pay for in a Rolls Royce that, well, you may get it in a Bentley in fairness, but you don't get it in many other things other than a Rolls Royce or a Bentley. All of the infotainment in the car, it's all BMW behind the scenes, so you just know it's going to work really, really well. And one thing I especially like, and I don't know whether many other manufacturers do it, but the Apple CarPlay is actually wireless. So in many other cars, you've got to get in the car, plug it in, and then your Apple CarPlay works. But you don't in this, it just automatically connects, which is a BMW thing, but I think that's absolutely brilliant. You've got head-up display, you've got night vision. I mean, that's something, if I turn the night vision on, so it's daytime now and you can still pick things up, but at night time, things like cyclists or animals actually show up a different colour on the screen. It is a little gimmicky, but on a country lane, when it's really dark, that is very, very helpful in my opinion. One thing I like as well with the Rolls Royce is a button is only there because it needs to be there. And like the heating controls, you don't get to really choose your temperature or the fan speed. You've either just got soft, medium or high, and then you've got dials that are just hot or cold. So, you know, if you put it to soft with sort of medium temperature, the car just seems to know, it just seems to know what temperature you want your car to be at, and you don't have to keep adjusting it. It just feels like it knows what you want. And speaking about knowing what you want, the massage seats in this car are absolutely fantastic. One of the things that it actually does, not just the backrest does it massage, it actually massages the base as well. So you can actually massage your glutes as you're driving along. I mean, you can choose various different massages, but it can be quite aggressive as well. So it gives you a proper massage. I do enjoy driving this car. I do think it's a car that is definitely better being a passenger, because if you're picked up at night time in this car, when all the ambient lighting's on, the shooting star headlining's on, you're sat in the back with that amazing stereo system, you know, that's when it really feels special to drive. It just feels like a really nice car to drive, and you know, you don't feel shortchanged at all, but it is a car to be driven in, I think, first. But you know, there is a Rolls Royce for everybody, and this just gives another option to people that can have everything. That's what the car gives you. It gives you everything you need, and a bit more. It is so easy to drive this car, but you're always reminded what you're in. You just look down the bonnet, you see the Spirit of Ecstasy just sat there, just guiding you along, and you just think, oh yeah, I've done okay, haven't I? And you see that every time that you're driving along. It's like, yeah, I think I've made it. So being the Black Badge, it has the extra performance, which I like. It also has the slightly different tune to the suspension, the steering, and also the exhaust. If I'm honest, I don't think it needs that extra tune to the exhaust, because it's not a roaring V8. I think with a Rolls Royce, it just wants to be as silent as it could possibly be. Also, the steering, I like a Rolls Royce with really, really light steering. I think other cars can have heavier steering for sports cars. You don't need that in a Rolls Royce. But what you can do, I mean, it hasn't got anything as vulgar as a sport mode. It's got none of that, but it's got a low setting to the gearbox. So if you press the low setting, it changes the mapping of the throttle and everything, and the gearbox. So when you accelerate, it just kicks down immediately. Like, whoo, it's got some performance. But generally, I don't think you'd ever really use that, to be honest. But it's nice to have. So because this car is so quiet, you do find yourself having to make conversation with your passengers. So the other day I thought I'd play a good game of guess the price of the options in the Rolls Royce. So I played that with my children. So First of all, the stereo system, I mentioned it before, £8,000. Lamb's wool floor mats, £1,200. The coach line down the side, £2,000. The rear TVs, £7,000. The rear picnic tables, £4,000. So yes, £11,000 just sitting in the back of the seats. I could go on and on and on. Whoever you bought, it makes for a great game. So if I was picking any faults with the car, what would they be? I would say some of the secondary plastics could be better. The glove box, for example, I don't think it feels as solid as it should, like the rest of the car is. The head-up display, the image on the head-up display of the car is actually of a Phantom, not a Cullinan. Now, if you wanted amazing attention to detail, which I would expect, I would want that to be the picture of my car, not another person's car. So Rolls Royce, I think you should take note of that. I mean, it is quite hard to find any fault with this car, but I'm just trying to be balanced with the view. So, in summary, what do I think of the Black Badge Cullinan? Well, I'm a massive Rolls Royce fan, so I can't help but like the car. Is it for me personally? I don't think it's for me. No, I think most of you know, I'm more of a Urus fan and what have you. I don't find the car dynamic enough for my tastes. And the looks, this car's more about the interior than it is the exterior. So, you know, I don't stand and look back at the car and think, oh wow, that's amazing, but it has a place, and that's not why people buy this car. People buy this car probably because they've got several other cars, probably other Rolls Royces too. You know, this is a car for occasional use. I know it can be driven every day, but let's face it, you're not going to drive this car every day. Now, if I could choose, if I was buying a Cullinan, I'd want the Black Badge look, but I would actually want the standard exhaust and standard steering from a non-Black Badge, because a Rolls Royce is all about the opulence and otherworldliness. I don't think it particularly suits having a slightly louder exhaust tone, and don't get me wrong, it's not loud at all, but I actually prefer it being totally silent, if I'm honest. So at nearly £400,000, this car does have a place, because you have several cars if you're buying this car. So on a Saturday night, when you're getting collected from the Michelin star restaurant by your driver, this car is absolutely perfect for that. So for me, it has a place.